Good morning, year three. How are we today? It's Thursday maths for you. And I think lots of you are starting to really understand the concept now of column addition and exactly what those columns are telling us. So today we are looking at our tens column again, and we are still going to be exchanging in the tens column, but we're going to try and move away from using that concrete and pictorial if we feel we don't want it. If we feel we're actually really confident in our column addition and that we can talk about it and understand it without having to do the different processes, then we can move straight onto the formal written method. But if you still like writing the pictorial or using your concrete equipment to help you, then that's absolutely fine as well. Whichever way you find it means that you can explain why you are doing something, then that is really good. So anything that you want to. But again, if you're finding that actually you know how to do this now, then you can move straight to the formal written method today. So I'm going to share my screen with you. There we go, that's quite quick. Okay. So as you can see, we're going to be using column addition to add two 3-digit numbers showing an exchange in the tens column. And we can still use those manipulatives if we want to show our understanding of column addition. We can understand why we exchange in the tens column. And we understand our place value. We know that we cannot have 2 digits in one column of column addition because that changes the number completely. Do you remember yesterday when I showed you that example and I put my wrong digits in the wrong column, hadn't I? I hadn't exchanged. That made the number a 4-digit number and it gave it a completely different value than if I'd have exchanged my tens properly. So first of all, I wanted to have a look at this calculation. 196 plus 783 equals 979. Do you agree with the calculation or do you want to challenge the calculation? Pause your video here and do whichever method you would prefer and have a go and see if that is correct. Okay, so I chose to do the pictorial example to prove whether that was right or not. So let's see if I've done it correctly. I've got my columns to help me out. So I've got 100 and 90 and my 6 ones. I've got 700. Ooh, no, I'm going to do that, write it out better. There we go. My 700s. I need another 8 tens. And I need my 3 ones. Starting in my ones column, I've got 9 ones all together. And then counting up my tens, I've got 9 tens and 1 more makes 10. I can't go any further than that. I need to exchange those tens for 100. Remember, 10 tens is the 100. And I can now add up the remaining tens that I've got. I've now got my hundreds column, but don't forget that extra 100. And I also get 797. So I agree with that answer. So important to remember what this represents. Okay, if you think of your place value, how many is the 7 worth? The 7 is 70, but because it's in the tens column, we know that that is a 70. What about the 9? What is that representing? It's not 9, it's 900, isn't it? Okay, so we know that we can't have 10 in that column. We have to exchange the 10 tens, and we can exchange that for a 100. Okay, I want you to have a look at this. Now, this is a different way of doing our pictorial, isn't it? Okay, rather than me drawing it, we've got a picture here. So I want you to have a go at solving that calculation. Okay, so imagine we've got a plus sign here, and you are going to add each column, okay, and you are going to do that in whatever method you feel comfortable with. So pause the video here and have a go at solving that. Now, it's just as if you were writing it out, but somebody's already written it out for you. So have a go at doing whatever method you prefer to work out that answer. Okay, have you all got an answer? Let's see if it's the same as my answer. So first of all, I had to count how many we had of each Deans. So I counted my first one, we had 383. Okay, that means, oh, where's that gone? Never mind. Let's do that. There we go, 383. So I had 3 lots of 100s, 8 10s, and 3 1s. Plus 265. I had 200s, 6 10s, and 5 1s. I now need to add up my 1s. 3 plus 5 is 8. I now need to add up my 10s. Okay, I put 8 in my head and add on 6, and that's 14. I now do my hundreds column and I add 3 plus 2, but I need to remember that extra 100. So my answer is 648. Did you all agree with that, year 3? Okay, maybe you set it out yourself first. Maybe you had a go at doing that, but it's so important to remember that we cannot have, just like with our ones column, we cannot have 2 digits in there, because if we added that up and wrote 14 and put 2 digits there, that would make it 6,148. That is a very different number from 648. Okay, so we need to remember that. It's the most important thing when we're doing our exchange. Okay, the second most important thing is when we've got our 10 or our 100 at the bottom, we need to remember it's there. So it's always really good practice to cross out your number underneath your equal sign. So if it was here, it would be your 10. If it was here, it would be your 100. It's always really good practice to cross that out, and then that shows that you considered that and you've added it to your total. Because if I had this here and I had 5 here, and that hadn't been crossed out, straight away I would probably think, oh, do you know what you've done? You forgot to add your other 100. So really good practice and a really good thing to get into the habit of. So very quickly, year 3, we're going to move on to your do-its today. I would like to see this written out in the formal method. I do not, and I suspect Mr. Kellum and Miss Cullen would say the same thing. We do not want to see 5 questions with just the answers here. If you would like to do the pictorial or the concrete to help you, that's brilliant. If you decide you don't want to do that, that's absolutely fine too. But we want 5 answers written in the formal column addition method. Okay, there is one in here that I've thrown in that's a bit tricky and it's a bit naughty of me. Okay, but I'm sure it won't be to trick you. Okay, just have a go and see if you can find the one that's a bit trickier, that doesn't follow quite the same pattern. There's something that you need to do. But if you do manage to work it out, then that's absolutely brilliant. If you don't, that's okay. We will talk through it anyway. So pause your video here, have a go at doing those 5 column addition do-it calculations. Okay, so hopefully you have got something that looks very similar to this. Okay, 5 calculations, all written in the column addition, and all written out very clearly. I've crossed out my hundreds that I've exchanged, so I know that I've added those every single time. Can you see the one that was a bit trickier? Why was that a bit trickier? Because I'd considered taking it out, and then I thought, no, I think yes, but you can have a look at this one as well. Well, you're probably saying to me, when I added my 100s column, I've got 7 plus 2, which is 9, but I've also got another 100 at the bottom, so I've got to add that on. I haven't got any numbers to carry on in my thousands column, so I can put both of my digits in the next, in the equal sign. Because we've now got, if you imagine that was your thousands column, you've now got 1,000, no 100s, and 48. That is still the correct answer. Okay, we have to have that 0 in there to show we haven't got any hundreds. Okay, otherwise, if we don't have a placeholder in there, the 1,000 shoots that way and it becomes 148. And 761 plus 287 cannot be 148. Okay, so well done to you if you managed to do that second calculation there. Bravo. So there are your do its, and there are, so you can pause the video here and just go and check your answers against there. If you haven't quite got it right, have a look and see where you might have got that slightly wrong. Okay, it might have been in your adding up. You've also got to secure it to have a look at today, and we've got some missing numbers. So we need you to try and work out what is the missing 1 here, what is the missing number in the ones column, what is the missing number in the tens column, thinking about what we're doing today and exchanging, and what is the missing number here. Now don't get caught out, really think about what that number could be. Your Deepen It today is to have a look at some word problems. Okay, you've got 2 word problems there. Again, we want to see, if you get this far, we want to see your calculations. We don't just want an answer here and an answer here. We want some calculations to prove it. Always really important to prove your answer. So that is what we want from your Deepen It today. If you want to, get an adult to read it for you. Okay, but still thinking about what we are doing with our column addition. Now, if you get to the end of today's lesson and you've whizzed through and think, oh, Mrs. Pledger, I want a bit of a challenge today. I wanted to really use my brain with our column addition. Well, there you go, year 3. There is an extra challenge at the end of your printout today. And here, Jane asks Mum for help with her homework. She has a column addition calculation with some missing digits, but there are lots of rules. So that is one for you to have a go at today. Okay, that is your secure it, that is your Deepen It, and that is an extra challenge. Now I have to say, year 3, an extra challenge is not compulsory. You do not have to do that. But some of you may decide you want a challenge. Also, if you've done your do it and it's taken you a really long time and you've tried so hard and you've really worked at your best and you think you'll do it because you know what it's like in lessons, sometimes we don't get to our secure it and Deepen It because we're trying so hard with our do its. If that's the case, that's absolutely fine as well. You do not have to do the extra challenge if you don't want it. And if you've worked so hard on your do its and you think, oh, I've worked so hard and it's taken me a really long time, but I'm really proud of the work I've done, there is never any pressure for you to get to the secure it and Deepen It. Okay, some of you might think, my goodness me, that didn't take me very long. It wouldn't take me very long in class. I'm going to fly on with the secure it and Deepen It. Okay, that is absolutely fine as well. So have a good day, year 3. This is the work that we would like to see from you today, is your maths work. We want to be wowed by some really neat, really well laid out column addition, and we can't wait to see it later on and see